going on, guys? So I'm back. Today I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the fitment of dentures and what I've experienced and what I know to be the correct way, I guess, a denture should fit. Um, so take this with a grain of salt. This is my opinion only and my experiences only. Other people will have completely different experiences from me. But, some people think, um, like me, like first I'll give you a rundown of kind of what I went through on my extraction day. I already did pretty much all those videos in the past. Obviously, you can go back and watch all those. I'll just do a really quick recap on everything. When I got my extractions done, um, they were done in 2 separate days because I couldn't get numb enough. He had already given me all the stuff he could, but um, the dental assistant could not get my upper denture in. She just kind of shoved it in there, and she wasn't pushing on it right, or something wasn't working, and it just wasn't working. So um, I wore it home. It really wasn't in. It just kind of was in my mouth. It was just kind of floating there, and there was like blood everywhere because now it's rubbing on the extraction sites, and it was kind of a mess. Like I got irritated at the dental office. I actually got really mad, but that didn't. I really didn't let that affect my overall experience. But yes, I did get really mad at that point because there's a lot more to that part of the story, but I won't go into that right now. So when I got home, I took them out. They weren't going in right. I was still kind of sore. I was in the middle of trying to get on my pain meds and dealing with the bleeding and everything. I dealt with that first. And so when I did that, once that was done, I decided I'm going to go take a shower and everything, and I'm going to take my denture and I'm going to mess with it a little bit myself and see if I can get it to go in. Well, I finally got it to go in. It suctioned to the roof of my mouth, and I got it to go in. And this is where I'm going to start voicing my opinion a little bit more about the fitment of dentures, is because just because it'll go up and it'll stay up in the roof of your mouth does not mean it fits correctly. That's the impression that I was under originally. Oh, look, it's staying in. It fits. Ooh, it's good. And you'll notice in my videos too, that's the way I react to it. I was like, hey guys, it fits. I can wear it. Doesn't mean you can eat with it like that though. There were a lot I've discovered in the days to come after that there was a lot of parts of the denture that did not fit correctly. The sides were oversized a little bit, so they rubbed on the sides of my gums going up like that. The roof, the palate is actually misshapen slightly. It looks like to where the one part does kind of, it's up a little bit higher, so it pokes the roof of my mouth just a little bit more than the other side does. That wasn't that bad though. There were spots on the inside, like on the inside of my jaw where my front teeth are right here, on the bottom where it went down really far and rubbed on the soft tissue down there. And I have the shark teeth thing where your gums are misshapen slightly, where they look like shark teeth. They're in between each, socket or extraction site. The gums come down like this to a point all the way around, and the immediate denture that you get is slightly shaped that way, but it's not at all perfect. Like it's kind of for general use. Like they don't really know when making an immediate denture what your gums are going to look like after, so you kind of have to just go with that. Well, so you have pressure points on each of those, gum points, and it just wasn't fitting right. So just because your denture goes in and it'll stay in does not mean it's going to be functional or be able to be wore that way. On the other hand, some people might not have that experience at all. Other people might pop that in and it might be like, whew, fits fine. They never had a problem with it. It just depends. It really just depends a lot on your situation and the way your extractions went. Did you have alveoplasty? Did you not? Things like that affect it a lot. So take that for what it is, that there's a lot of things that can affect the fitment of your dentures. And honestly, because I did online dentures through Russell Klein, I could have contacted Russell Klein. Like I said in the past, I could have contacted Russell Klein and said, hey, look, things are different, it's not fitting right, and he would have been probably more than happy to remake them for me. Maybe not totally remake them, but at least adjust these to help a little bit, you know. But I didn't bother him with that. I just wanted to kind of work on it myself, and I did. And I ended up, my solution was a soft reline. Like I said in my other videos, you'll see a soft reline solved 95% of my problems like that with fitment. You know, other problems were solved by filing a little bit, being really careful and being really slow. Also, keep in mind, all the stuff that I say in this video is just an example of what I did. And I'm not instructing anyone to go out and do this. I'm not telling you it's safe to go do this. I'm telling you this is what I did. You run the risk of completely screwing up your dentures if you are going to file on them or do something that's permanent to them. Something like a soft reline isn't really permanent. They're meant to be temporary and peeled out and stuff. That's not a big deal, you know, but when you're going to go start modifying your denture, you're taking a pretty big risk by doing that. For one, if you got them from an actual denture maker that you can go to, say Affordable Dentures or Aspen or just your dentist, if there's any kind of warranty or anything like that they're providing on that, and you go and modify those yourself, you could be avoiding that warranty, or you could be avoiding anything that they're going to do. They might go, you know what, you filed these things down, we can't work on them now, you got to pay for a new denture. You never know. So just be really careful of that. Yeah, so that's about all I got. You know, it's funny because you early on you're like, oh, they stay up, they fit, and then the next day you're like, oh well, it kind of rubs over here, and the next day you're like, man, that hurts. It kind of rubs over here too, and it's rubbing on the roof of my mouth, and then the next day you're like, man, they just don't fit right. They're hurting a lot, and when you finally do get your set of dentures to fit the way they're supposed to, it is like night and day. I cannot stress it enough. You will know when they're fitting correctly. You'll go, wow, they stay in, they don't move, they fit. I can talk better with them, you know. To be honest, I also had a little bit of a slight gag reflex before when they weren't fitting right. I think a lot of that was because they weren't fully seated up against the roof of my mouth, back on the very back of the palate. They were not seated all the way up there. They were kind of hanging down just a tiny bit, and it was rubbing on the soft tissue of my palate, causing me to gag slightly. It wasn't bad, like they don't go back that far, but I could tell every once I'd be like, ugh. Like I kind of just felt like this weird feeling. I had to go take a drink, and it would go away. But I think that's what caused it. And now that they're fitting super snug and they're not overly tight to be uncomfortable, but they just fit like a glove, all those problems just went away, and it's much better now. It's much better now. I wear these things all day with the Pro Soft and Fixodent in them. No pain, no soreness, nothing. I mean, if I bite down on something really hard or really, really chewy, it takes me a minute. I gotta kind of go, you know, really, really get at it. But if it hurts too much, I stop and go, I have to wait on that. It's something I gotta wait on. Try it again in another few days or something, you know. So just be aware of all that. Yeah, I think that's every point I wanted to hit. So, yeah, as always, guys, like, subscribe, keep smashing the like button. And remember, be safe, be strong, and feel alive. Have a good one, guys.